In this video, we're going to look at the Central Baptist Church site, and I'm going to show you how to update the main things on your site. So to begin, you'll go to the URL for your site, and then you'll add /wp-admin to the end of your URL, and then you'll come here and put in the username and password that we've given you, and you'll log in, and here we are. So what I'm going to do is go down the list of these things here in the left-hand column and show you how most of these things work. Some of these don't pertain to you, but the main thing you want to know is that once you log in, what you need is over here in this black column, not anything over here. This is nothing you'll really use. So I'm just going to go down the list here, and in the description under this video, you'll be able to see time markers for each of these individual sections, and you can hop around and find the thing that you need. So let's just start at the top and work our way down. Under updates, this is where your plugins are, or it's where it'll show you what plugins need to be updated. And we do this for all of our clients regularly. So we update all of our plugins and all of the versions of WordPress for our clients. So you virtually never have to worry about this if you don't want to, because you are hosted through Megaphone. This is something you never have to worry about. If you do see that because we don't do it every moment of every day, there might be a moment where one needs to be updated and you're working on something on your site and it's not working. If you come here and see that you have an update available, that could be the source of your issue. So we'll move down to posts. I don't believe that you're using blog posts right now, but this is a function that you can use if you'd like. And essentially what you do is add a new post, and then you would add a title and then any text here, and then you could publish a post, and then we could create a blog page for you to continually update. If you do end up wanting to add a blog, the actual addition of the blog page might need a little help from us, so just let us know and we'd love to help you with that. But this is where the actual posts would go, and this is going to be what you see everywhere you go on your site, is a page that looks like this. And so anything that you need to format, you'll type your text here, and you can make your text a different size. You can bold, you can italicize, you can bullet number, align your text differently. You can hyperlink your text to a page within your site, so any of these pages within your site, or you could remove that link and hyperlink it to any site. And you can add media, you can add a picture. I can change the alignment of the picture, and I'm trying to think of what else you might need to know here. I think those are the main things. So you're not using posts. So like I said, if you do end up wanting to use that, that's totally fine. Now under events, this is a little confusing. We're not actually using the events plugin on your site. We're using a Google Calendar, and I'm going to show you that in just a moment. But the plugin for events was installed, and that's what we were talking about using originally, but we've moved over to Google Calendar, which is just a simpler and cleaner way for your calendar to look. So if you look on the front end of your site, if you click events, you can see this calendar. It looks really good, and you can click on an event and then see more details, and then it'll take you to your Google Calendar where you can view all the events. So I sent credentials to log into this calendar. I'd have to check and see who I sent those to, and I can clarify that if I need to. But basically, if you go to your Google Calendar and make sure you're signed in under the right person, and then make sure if you have multiple calendars, you're only editing this particular one. So, whoops, somehow I got really far back. Okay, so here we are in June, and I can see these different events. I can edit them if I need to. And then I would click save, or I can add a new event right here through this little button, and it'll show you. And you give it a title, say what date the event is, from what time, and if it's, the same day, if it's just a single day event, from what time to what time. You can make the event repeat daily or weekly or monthly or annually, anything like that. You can add a location, and you can add a description. And then you would click save, and it would show up on your calendar. So I just get to this by Google searching Google Calendar. And if you have already logged in and had success doing that, then you should be able to log in. Looks like I haven't shared this with anybody. So if we need to get somebody on this calendar, we can do that. I realize now at the current moment you're a webmaster client, so we've been adding events for you. If you want to start adding events, all I would have to do is add your email there, and we could make this calendar available for someone else to edit. So that's how events works on your site. You're not using this plugin, so we could just delete this for you and know that you're using the Google Calendar. So we'll move to media. This is your media library where all of any photos, any PDFs are located. And you can look at any of the pictures on here. And you can edit them if you need to. So you can crop them, you can rotate them, things like that. But mainly if you ever need access to pictures in your library, then you can find those pictures within whatever item you're using. So let's move to forms. And under forms, we have a contact form here. And this is pretty self-explanatory, pretty intuitive. If you want to add extra fields over here, you just click on whatever type of field it is, like radio buttons, and it's going to add it to the end there. And then you click on the section and then click and then if you want to remove some items, you can remove them, or you can add more radio button options. You can make it a required field. Then you can rearrange where these go. So if you want to, you can duplicate a field, and then I'm going to delete them because you don't need them. And then once you make changes, you'll just want to click update. So you can utilize this plugin to create sign-up forms for events at your church if you would like to do that. And we could help you with that, but basically this is how it works. Is you click a field over here, you add it here, and then you edit it by clicking on it. And then you can preview the form and see what it looks like and make sure it's starting to look right. And then so you can view entries from here or here. And then you can see what entries you have. Looks like there's a spam one. That's spam. That's spam. So you don't have any entries right now. This is where you could go to view them. Under notifications, this is who is set to receive a notification once this form is filled out. Looks like it's set up to go to the admin email, and we'll double check and make sure that admin email is set up correctly. So if you want to change this email, who you send it to, this is how you change it right here, and update the notification. And yeah, so you can view the entries, or you can view the settings from this section of the dashboard, or from within over here. So we'll move to pages. These are your internal pages. So any of your menu items, let's look at. So this page, for example, let's look at church history. How this page is created is there's a featured image, a header, and then some text. And if you're looking at the front end of your site and you're logged in, you can always click this edit button in the corner. So you've got your title of your page, which is church history, and like I said, that text right here, and then your featured image is set down here. And all you got to do is click it and then select whichever image you want it to be, and then click set featured image. And if you make any changes, click update. And if you want to edit the permalink, so the link of that page to be something other than church-history, that can be done right there. And I don't think that there's much complicated with how your site is set up with internal pages. Yeah, it kind of looks basically the same. So you've got that title of your page, some text, and then a featured image. Yeah, and this one's just got some bulleted points and numbers, which I showed you how to do when we were looking at the blog post. So this works basically the same way. And if you want to hyperlink something to an email, this would be done by hyperlink, and then you type in mail to, and then whatever email you want it to be. And then that will open up a box for someone to email you there. But obviously that's not what you want. I'm trying to make sure I'm not missing anything on any of these pages. So then these just are set with a little bit smaller of a heading. So they have just some text is set as, looks like heading 2 probably. And on the missions page, you have stuff in columns here. And then you have some people's names hyperlinked to their sites, which again, you just use that hyperlink button to do that. This button here. And then these are set in columns. So this creates your text, allows your text to be in columns, this button here. So you've got 1/3, then this text to show you where another third begins, and then this is your last third, and then you close it out here. So if you end up changing these, you'll just want to, if you just leave this all where it is and kind of copy and paste around it and make sure that you have kind of equal sized columns, you should be good, and you wouldn't really need to mess with the shortcode is what that is. So, and on the Contact Us page, we have that form that we were just looking at, and that is added by, I'll show you here. There's shortcode there for the form, and all you have to do is click Add Form. You only have one form to choose from right now, but you don't need to display the title or the description, and Insert Form, and there you have that shortcode. And if you end up making a new form that you want to implement in some way, just let us know if it looks funny on the front end once you've done that, and we'd be happy to help kind of adjust it. Sometimes that happens, doesn't look exactly right on the page you've placed it because we've formatted it to look good on this page. But I think for the most part, forms should look okay if you want to try to use them in another facet. Moving on to comments, this is if you did have blog posts and you did have comments enabled, but you don't have either. Calendars, this is how your calendar appears on the calendar page. So on events here, you'll see there's just shortcode on this page. And it's this shortcode here. So the only thing that you would ever need to do here is if you wanted to use a different Google Calendar. So if you guys created a new calendar and you needed to change it out, then you could do that by clicking Google Calendar here and then pasting the ID here. And then clicking update. But I don't foresee that being an issue or something that you need to do. You can just edit the calendar through the means in which we've given you, and I don't know that you'd ever need to change that. So there's really nothing you need to worry about with calendars here. Under sermons, you are not currently utilizing this function. If you end up wanting to do that, let us know. I'm going to move to homepage areas, and these are the two sections of your homepage. Which are the About Us and the Schedule of Services. So under About, this is going to be the text that is right here. So it looks like we have this photo here. It's centered, and then if you click Edit, you can see what size the photo is, and you can adjust the size if you want. If you end up taking a new photo, you can click Replace, and then it'll take you to your media library where you can choose a new image, and all you do is upload the file here, drop it, or select a file. And then beneath that kind of looks just like when you were editing those pages. You've got this text in H1, heading 1, and then this text is just paragraph text. It's all centered, and then you have this Learn More text, which is hyperlinked to our mission page. And then also, if you'll look at this under format, it's a button, and that's why it shows up as a button here. And beneath that, we have Schedule of Services. So again, if you make any changes here, just click Update. Then let's go back to Homepage Areas and Sunday Morning. And this works the same way. So you've got H1, it's all centered. This text is bolded. This is hyperlinked and then formatted as a button. And then you'll notice that this text is formatted as white text, so that it shows up on this photo overlay here. And that is done by scrolling down here, and you can see the stock photo that we've used as the background. If you want to change that out, again, it works the same way as any other. And then there's a background color overlay. So this color lays over the top of that to give it that kind of look and for you to be able to still read the text over the top of it. If you ever want to use this color anywhere else, you can copy and paste that color code. Or if you want to get a different color from the web, from the internet somewhere else, you can paste that code there. And then the transparency of that color is adjusted through this slider. And then we have padding checked as yes, which means that the space looks nice and good on either side of the words here. So if you ever created a new homepage area, you'd always want to make sure that there was space on either side. And so if you wanted to create a new homepage section, my suggestion would be just to basically replicate everything that you have here. So for how we usually set that up is we would make a white section, and then a section with some color, and then maybe another white section, and then maybe another section with some color. So if you want to make another section promoting another part of your website or another part of your church, all you'd have to do is go to Add New. Okay, so we'll center all this text. We'll make this a button. And we'll just leave it as a white background for now. So we won't do anything here. And then we'll click yes on padding. That just means I need to set that up to fix that. Did it publish it? Yes, it did. I will fix that so that if you do that again, it won't say invalid color. So let's see if it showed up on your site. Yeah, it showed up here at the top. So if you want to rearrange it, you go to reorder. We want to put it down here. So let's refresh. There you go. And we need to make sure padding is checked as yes. That's why it looks all scrunched like that. Or if you wanted to give it a solid color background, and then let's make this text white again. There you go. And like I said, if you wanted to add a photo in the background, then let's see how this looks. And you can just kind of mess around with it. I usually have 2 tabs open like this so I can look at it. So that's how you would add a section. And then I'm going to move it to the trash because we don't want that on your site, obviously. That was just to test it, and I'm going to make sure it's gone. Yes. Okay. And we'll get to these items in just a moment, but that's everything on homepage areas. Moving to staff members, you're not currently using this. If you end up wanting to list your staff members and you have more and you want to list them in a different way, we can talk about utilizing this. There are other ways to do it, but that's just looks like a plugin we added that you don't need. Genesis is your theme. There's nothing really to talk about there. Under appearance, we have widgets and menus. Under widgets, this is where that stuff in your footer is located down here. So it's also where the items in your header are located. So we have your logo. If you ever need to change that, you just choose an image and you can choose one from your media library and make sure it's linked to your homepage, and then it can be used as a button. And then we just have your navigation menu added to the top there as well. And then before the header, we have this phone number and address. And you can see that that's hyperlinked, and you hyperlink a telephone number by adding the TEL with the colon. And then this is hyperlinked to the Google Maps page for your site. So if any of those items ever change, you can come in here and update them and then click save in the bottom corner. And that's under before header because it comes before the header. And this is just so that we can use homepage areas, nothing to worry about there. Under footer 1, we have that Google map, which is down here. So, and you only have one map, so it's done through there. And then we have this visual editor that says join us. And again, this button is linked to the Google page, and it's formatted as a button. So if any of this changes, again, you can edit that and click save in the bottom right. And then beneath that in footer 2, we have navigation menu again in the footer. So if you want to add more things to the header or footer, those items are added over here. You click the item and then you select where on the page you want it to go. It will show up over there, and then you can edit it once you're there. Or you can drag it to a new location up here. Or I'm going to go ahead and delete it because we don't actually want that. But those items are oftentimes confusing and can make your site look funky if you don't do them right. So you'll just want to make sure if you do end up needing to add something to the header or footer and it doesn't look right, just let us know and we'll help fix it. Under appearance, the second thing you'll need to look at is menus, and this is how you add pages and menu items to your menu, which is at the top and the bottom. And if you let's say you created a new page, it will show up here under most recent, and you can select it and add it to the menu, and it'll show up at the bottom, and then you can drag it wherever you want it to go. So you can make it a sub menu item, or you can make it a main menu item. You can also change the title of it if you want to change the title of how it appears here. And right now you've got 2, 4, 6 items, and that's perfect for a menu. You really don't want many more than that, so I wouldn't suggest adding anything. I'd suggest adding sub-menu items if you want to add things to your menu. And if you want to add a link to an outside page, you can do that through custom link, and then give it a label here, and then paste the URL here, and then click add to menu. And then you can link to an external page if you want to link to something outside of your site. So if you make any changes, just click save menu, and then that's added through the widgets section where you added menu. So you can create a totally new menu for social media if you want to do that, and link to Facebook, and we can help you do that if you do end up wanting to do that. Under plugins, this is where all of those items that we've talked about over here on the left are plugins. And so this is where any of your plugins are located, and if you want to add new plugins and change functionality of your site, it's your site. You're more than welcome to do that. And if you run into issues, let us know. We can help try and direct you or guide you. Users, this is where you have a administrator login. And so if you end up wanting to edit your password, that can be done through here. And then you would click update. If you want to add a new user, you can add a new user. They just have to have an email, and then you would set them as an administrator, and then you'd want to copy and paste the password for them. And these are strong passwords. You would just want to make sure if you do change your password or end up using a different password other than that auto-generated one, that it's very strong so that you don't compromise your site. These items here, I'm not going to go over anything here. There's nothing really you need to know or talk about under here. If you do end up having questions about tool settings, custom fields, or SEO, let us know. Those are not things that you're going to be working with. Under Slider Revolution, I don't think we're using this anywhere on your site. I think we originally were, and then we no longer are. So I'm not going to talk about that. WordFence is just to protect your site. That's to make sure that if any weird things happen on your site, we get an email notification about it. Under Google Maps, I'm going to go to Manage Locations. So this is where your location is at. And if you want to edit it, you can click Edit. And if you need to change your address, you can do that through here, and then it will auto-populate the rest of the items in here. But I don't foresee that being something you need to do very often. And if you do run into an instance where you get confused about Google Map, just let us know. We can help with that as well. Pods admin, I'm not going to talk about. There's nothing really using pods on your site. So yeah, we don't really need to talk about that. So that's everything. If you run into more questions and need more help, just let us know, and we'd be happy to do that.